going to start seeing a lot of corporations get involved with holding Bitcoin. And so there's a few different reasons for that, right? We just got news that Microsoft is potentially looking at investing in Bitcoin and holding it on their balance sheet. And so I definitely think we're going to start seeing a lot more of this coming towards the end of the year and into 2025. And so there is a few different reasons for that. One is that the accounting standard is going to be changing in the middle of December. And so that will have a huge impact on people holding Bitcoin on their balance sheet, and I'll be explaining why that is. We also have Michael Saylor explaining 3 reasons why companies are not investing in Bitcoin right now. And so we're going to be watching that clip here as well. And so if you enjoy this video, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for future content. And so as I mentioned here, Microsoft is going to be voting on whether or not they should be buying Bitcoin. And so it's going to be happening here on December 10th in their meeting. And so this is definitely something to be paying attention to. If this does pass and Microsoft starts investing in Bitcoin, we're going to see a lot of other corporations jump on board. And so MicroStrategy has been implementing a corporate Bitcoin strategy which has provided some of the best returns to shareholders since 2020. And so their stock at that time was trading right around $12 to $15. Today it is up to $235. And so MicroStrategy has had some of the best returns out there. It is outperforming many tech stocks, right? I mean, just in the last year here, we're looking at returns of 455%. And so before we jump into the clip of Michael Saylor explaining why businesses may not be investing in Bitcoin, I'd like to take a look at the chart here for Bitcoin. We can see that we are forming a large cup and handle pattern here since the top in November of 2021. And so we can see we have been consolidating here since March of earlier this year, and we have finally broken to the upside there. And so if we take a closer look at that here, we can see we have broken out of the channel. We can see we have come back down, retested that, and we are looking to push to the upside. And so this is definitely a very bullish pattern for Bitcoin here heading into the end of the year. And so if you're interested in leverage trading Bitcoin or other assets, you can check out the link underneath the video to Margex. Now let's go ahead and jump right into the clip of Michael Saylor explaining 3 reasons why businesses have not invested in Bitcoin.
Happy to be here.
Excellent. Well, it feels like already quite a bit of water under the bridge. I think since we first encountered each other, you laid out the Bitcoin treasury strategy for your company, MicroStrategy, about 4 years ago, and your stock has outperformed all the big tech companies. Why do you think we haven't seen more companies implement your strategy yet?
I think the three big planks of corporate adoption of Bitcoin are number one, fair accounting. And we started with indefinite intangible accounting, and we get fair value accounting in January of 2025 that's mandatory. So there's been about a 4-year period of normalizing the accounting. I think the accounting is hostile and prejudicial to a well-run company. Just because if you can only lose money and you can never make money on an investment, a reasonable CEO or CFO would say, I don't know if I want to make that investment. And so even though the reality is you would make money on an accounting basis, it would look like you're losing money. So I think that was the first challenge. The second
So I want to stop there and talk about that here a minute. And so what is the new accounting rule that's going to go into effect here? And so right now, the accounting rule that is taking place is an indefinite lived intangible asset. And this means that they are accounted for using the cost less impairment model. And so this model recognizes only decreases, not increases in crypto asset values. And so let's say that you bought Bitcoin at $60,000 and then it fell down to $50,000. Now, that loss of $10,000 would be shown under the current accounting rule. Right now, if it goes up in value, you could not account for that. And so that is going to be changing here coming December 15th. And so the cost less impairment measurement model requires annual impairment testing. And so if the asset's carrying amount exceeds its fair value, the difference becomes an impairment loss recognized in the current period that permanently reduces the asset's carrying amount to a lower fair value. And so, as I mentioned here, this will be going into effect here December 15th, 2024. And so this is why I'm not surprised to see Microsoft here voting on this in their December 10th meeting, whether Microsoft should be investing in Bitcoin. And so let's go ahead and take a look at the next reason why businesses may not be investing in Bitcoin.
challenge is fair treatment as an institutional asset via the Securities and Exchange Commission or the major financial regulators. And we started to get that January of 2024 with the approval of the spot Bitcoin ETFs. And before that point, a lot of skeptics were of the opinion that maybe it would be banned, or they're not sure it's an actual real asset. You have all the skeptics saying it's tulip bulbs or it's a Ponzi scheme or something. But of course, the SEC would never approve an ETF for a Ponzi scheme. So probably for people that don't really think hard one way or the other about this, they're reflexive investors, they're looking for that endorsement from the most important financial regulator in the world, or regulators in the world. So that was...
Right, and so we have that. Since January of 2024, the SEC has approved the Bitcoin ETF, right? They also have approved an Ethereum ETF as well. And so we have a lot of support from the SEC for Bitcoin, right? I mean, BlackRock is continuing to accumulate massive amounts of Bitcoin. And so if it was a Ponzi scheme or anything like that, the SEC would not have approved it. And so reason number one, we are going to see changes with the accounting rule on December 15th. And then we also have the SEC that has backed the cryptocurrency asset, right? They are supporting it. They have approved the Bitcoin ETF. And so let's go ahead and listen to the third reason.
Plank 2. And I think Plank 3 is fair treatment from the banking system. So right now, it's impossible for most major banks to custody Bitcoin, buy Bitcoin, or sell Bitcoin for you. There are a few banks in Switzerland. I mean, there's Standard Chartered Bank in Europe. There are some of the banks in Brazil that can handle the asset. But the major corporations, right, the Microsoft, the Google, the Amazon, the Apples of the world, they wire billions of dollars a month to a too big to fail bank, right? A bank with $1 trillion balance sheet. And right now they wire the billions of dollars a month to buy sovereign debt. They're just saying, okay, take this $1 billion today and buy T-bills with it. And it's like a 10-second transaction. It's routine. They've been doing with the business with the same bank for 30 years, 40 years. Citi is National City Bank. National City Bank was the bank of John D. Rockefeller, run by his brother. Okay, that tells you how far back. J.P. Morgan, right? Try to remember who founded J.P. Morgan, right, and how far back it goes. J.P. Morgan wasn't the first, right? He took it over. So what you have are these 100-year-old banks and 100-year-old relationships. And at the point that a CFO can send $1 billion of cash to their bank, buy $1 billion of Bitcoin, do it and hold it there, no risk, right? Or what they perceive as no risk, right? These are too big to fail banks. So the shareholders of Apple and the shareholders of Microsoft, they're not obsessing over the risk that Apple and Microsoft take to do business with Bank of America or JP Morgan or Citi, right? Or Wells Fargo. So that's a very important thing. When you've got all three, when you've got fair accounting, when you've got fair, securities treatment or trading treatment, and when you've got fair banking treatment, then you'll see mega corporations that will think, okay, well, this is a reasonable thing to do and it's practical to do. Until you've overcome those three, then you've got problems to solve.
And so we heard the third reason there from Michael Saylor, right? Banks getting involved. And so that is going to take some time, right? He did mention that there is banks out there that will accept Bitcoin, whether that's in Brazil or other countries. However, the big banks like the Wells Fargo, the JP Morgans, with them getting involved and accepting Bitcoin, it's going to take some time. And so we also have Morgan Stanley that has come out and they announced and were approved to be the custodian for Bitcoin as well, right? And so things are definitely changing. We're looking to the upside. The accounting rule is going to be changing moving into 2025. And I think that will have a big impact on corporations buying Bitcoin. And so once more and more corporations are buying Bitcoin, I think it is going to have a big snowball effect. A lot of people are going to start buying Bitcoins, and it's going to be in large amounts, right? It's not going to be a couple of thousands of dollars. It's going to be hundreds of millions of dollars being bought by corporations. And so this is definitely something that's very bullish moving forward, especially with Microsoft looking into it as well here, right? I mean, they do have this being voted on December 10th. Now, yes, they did say that they would be against it, right? They do not want to implement this. However, they do have it on there to be voted on for their shareholder meeting on December 10th. And I definitely think this is very bullish moving forward. And so if you enjoyed this video, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for future content. And make sure to check out the link underneath the video to Margex if you're interested in leverage trading. Thanks so much for watching. I hope to see you in the next video.